Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk on this video that I did a voiceover to. And if you guys want to watch the video, it's I posted it on Instagram. I'm getting ready to post it on YouTube. But if you want to see what the guys were saying without my commentary, go to my Instagram account, click on the video, and then they have like the way of like it's like some like a small text in the video, but it'll let you know that it was remixed or something like that. I think that's how it goes, because there's sequence and remix. So yeah, it was remixed, but I kind of got it. I got a little confused with one another and stuff. But no, so anyways, the video, it's of these three guys. They're I guess if you can't find the video, or if you see this at a later time. So, so the guys, they're sitting down, they're doing their podcast, and then they got to talking about, a guy. One of the guys got to talking about a guy that he noticed at the gym. Now, I'm gonna get into, I guess the start of that and things, but more so kind of talking about it at the end of the situation. So, but anyways, so the guy, he notices a guy listening to his music, and I guarantee and I promise you, he wasn't sitting there telling the guy, oh, it's weird for you to be listening to your music in the gym and stuff. But no, overall though, it wasn't even so much about him listening to the music. It was about what he was listening to. I guess what made the situation weird. And I'm thinking to myself, you didn't know this guy before this whole, I guess interaction. I don't know why all of a sudden it has to matter now what this man listens to. And it's like, you don't know him. It's people like that where I'm like, fam, get away from me. I'm like, I ain't even in the mood to be dealing with you right now. I am an adult. I am thinking adult things. I am not going to be thinking of no childish stuff because I'm allowing my emotions to speak on behalf of this podcast episode. All right. So hold on for a second. Let me bottle up what I really want to say. I gotta remain professional, so, but anyway, so the guy, he says he approaches this guy at the gym. He asked the guy what he was listening to, because he seen he was listening to his music with his headphones and stuff. So anyways, he asked him what was he listening to. Guy say he was listening to Drake. And then the whole clip is of them, I guess, making the situation weird for the guy listening to Drake at the gym. And they're like, oh, you're listening to a man singing or whispering in your ear or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Drake has more than just sad songs. And I'm thinking to myself, if that man want to listen to Drake's sad songs and work out, how does that affect your day-to-day life? And it's funny because there's this video I am going to talk about on YouTube where it was of this woman. I think she was like at a restaurant or a bar or something like that. But it was this song about Texas that started playing. She started singing along to the song, and this old lady approached her and was all like, oh, you ain't from Texas, so you can't sing that song and stuff. And pretty much what how the woman responded, she let the old lady know, you just need to mind your business. Don't be worried about what I'm doing, because it's one of those things where I'm like, you can gladly get powerbombed through one of these tables in this bar or restaurant. But getting back to these guys, I guess criticizing this man for listening to Drake at the gym, what's wrong with that? At the end of the day, my thing is this. I don't care what you're listening to. I don't care what you got going on. At the end of the day, whatever your preference is in life, that's your life. That's your preference. I don't care what you got going on. I don't care what way you, I guess, like view significant others, whether more so saying like if you are attracted to the same, sex, that's your life. That's your preference. If you're attracted to the opposite, that's your life. That's your preference. If you're attracted to tree stumps and helicopters, that is your life. And that is your preference. Yeah, we're going to look at it as weird. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where I'm like, how does that affect my day-to-day life, though? If you're like, oh, I want to, like, I guess the one guy that on that TV show, My Strange Addiction, there was actually a couple of guys on there that did some weird stuff. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm not losing sleep over it. Yeah, I'll talk about it. I'll joke around with it and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where if it was if I was approached and they was all like, you had to, like one of the, yeah, let's say the Men in Black people came up to me and approached me and was all like, hey, we gotta wipe them 2 episodes out of your memory and stuff. Like you can never think of them My Strange Addiction episodes ever again. The guy attracted to his car and then the other guy attracted to a mannequin. I'm like, all right, yeah. I'm like, go ahead, wipe my memory. I'm like, it's one of those things. I'm like, I'm not. It's something where I guess I don't lose sleep over, but. Yeah, those guys, they were all on their podcast talking about that. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, ain't it kind of weird though? You just off up in the gym watching a man, listening to music and things like, because I feel like the gym, even though it's a public area, it's supposed to be like personal time for you, So when you go to the gym, all you got to do is go in there, work out, do whatever you do afterwards, whether it's, relaxing or if you just head on home and stuff. But why are you worried about other people at the gym? That's what I would like to know. I feel like that's, it's more weirder for you to be watching this man listening to Drake at the gym. Like, I find that more weird than the man listening to Drake at the gym. But if we could just sit down and just talk about Drake real quick, like, why is it a problem to listen to him at the gym? Whether, because Drake, he has a lot of good songs out there, despite the beef that he was in not too long ago. No, Drake has a lot of different good music that I still listen to till this day. And there's one particular song where I'm like, fam, whether you're sad, whether you're happy, whether you're at the gym, whether you're going for a long drive, whatever the case is, there's this one song that he came out with off of it. It was that For All the Dogs, I think, or something like that album. But I think it was the first song on the album, Virginia Beach. Fam, that's one of those songs where, yes, I would listen to that song at the gym. I've listened to that song, like heading, like on vacation. I've listened to that song while, playing video games. What else? Like working on content. Drake does not put out bad music. Now, I will say that when he was going back and forth with Kendrick, there were some songs that he did where I'm like questionable, but at the end of the day, I'm like, fam, I guess, like what is the guy supposed to be listening to at the gym if it's left up to you? Because I'm like, I feel like that the conversation, it wouldn't have been no different if that guy would have said, oh, I'm listening to, what's that one girl that's Ella May, I think that's her name, that sings that song Booed Up. Hold on for a second. Let me, Ella May, I think that's how her name is pronounced. But anyways, he could have said he was listening to that and they're like, bro, you listening to Ella May off up in the gym? That's weird, bro. That's you acting. I worded it a little differently in my Instagram video, but no, that's how they're looking at it. They're looking at it because they might have not came out and said it in the video or in the clip, but pretty much they were trying to insinuate that the man was gay. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fam, listening to music now. And the thing is, if I was given enough time in the video to just kind of just lay out a bunch of different examples, but the one that I went with was that eventually it's going to get to a point in time where men can't walk no more. Like, no, it's going to be a trend where they're like, oh no, men got to run and jog everywhere they go. I don't care what you're doing. And that's the thing. I'm like, I don't know how I would accept this world if I'm walking somewhere, or if I'm like, yeah, let's just say I'm at the store and I'm walking, minding my own business, and a man walks up to me talking about, so you walking, right? I'm like, I think I am. I can feel my legs, and usually they're going at a speed. I'm gonna probably end up getting smart, and then that's going overall, like, yeah, probably based off of whatever video he done seen. He was like, oh, you weird for walking. You allowed me to see you walking and stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, how does me walking affect your day-to-day life? Like, no, that's on some stuff where it's like you really got to sit down and educate people about minding their own business, because that's the whole moral of this podcast episode, is that people need to learn how to mind their own business. And me, I would have to say I am the most minding business person. I don't think that's how that's pronounced. But overall, though, I think you overall know what I'm saying and stuff. You understand what I'm saying. I don't be out worried about people like that. The thing is this, you could be a crackhead on the street, yelling, screaming, going crazy and stuff. As long as you don't affect me, hey, yell, scream, all that stuff. I might chime in and yell and scream with you. I'm like, yeah, that makes you making a valid point. And so, okay, I probably won't chime in. But overall, though, You understand my point with that, all right? If you play, and that's another thing, because I'm there, it's just so many different things that people they try to like add their preference onto other people. Because no, I remember when I was like just video games, for an example, people have tried to get on me for playing a video game on easy, and I'm thinking to myself, last I checked, I bought the either if I'm playing it on my TV, I bought my TV. If I'm playing it on my monitor, I bought my monitor. I bought the Xbox. I bought the subscription, for it. I bought the video game. Pretty much everything I bought is it's or everything that I'm playing off of, it's mine. I bought it with my own money. So I should be allowed, if I want to hang the TV upside down and put my chair on the ceiling and play the video game upside down, guess what? That's my preference. That's my choice. If I want to be weird like that, I'm going to be weird like that. I don't know how I'm going to defeat gravity, but hey, I'm going to figure it out. All right. But no, overall, though, it from that to movies, for an example, like people are like, oh, you know what? Actually, the best possible, because I remember there was these it was two kids that I went to school with. One, he was really going off about it, but I remember it was because anytime he see me, he felt like he needed to mention that I watch wrestling. And I'm thinking to myself, I am a kid in middle school, and the thing is, at the time being, it's like, I wasn't thinking it. I'm telling you, I really do wish that, like, with the brain that I have now, I wish that I can time travel and go back to like certain eras of my life and just change things. I probably would have been like a public enemy, but there's definitely a lot of situations where I'm like, I don't think I would have ignored it. I think I would have, I definitely would have said some things, probably either to hurt somebody's feelings or to just make them understand and realize, hey, minding your own business, it's a optional thing, but it's a thing that you should consider doing, but no, I remember there was this one kid, I can't remember how the conversation came up about, but I remember I had said that I watched wrestling, and he overheard, and he was trying to get on me about watching it and stuff, talking about it's fake and all these other different things. And I'm thinking to myself, I just ignored the kid, because I was like, obviously, I'm like, because I think they was like, he played football, so I'm like, you probably got hit across the head one too many times. I'm like, yeah, you just go in first, head first, and whatever you're doing. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe you got some head injuries and you don't really know how to like comprehend conversations and stuff, because his head looked a little like tense, like he had like a 3D migraine and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know what your business is, but I ain't even gonna feed into it. I think if something like that were to happen now, I definitely would have been like, so how is me watching wrestling is a part of your business? How's that a part of your day-to-day life? Like, no, please answer that question, because I would like to know. It's one of those things where I'm all like, I please explain it to me. How does me watching wrestling affect your day-to-day life? Because I'm saying, if you go to sleep thinking about it, that's more weirder. All right, that's gonna be far more weirder than me watching wrestling. And the funny thing is, it's like, because people, they'll say that about wrestling, they'll say that about movies. Like, if I were to like say, oh, I'm gonna go watch the Super Mario Galaxy movie, people are like, oh, that's no. Even you know what? The funny thing is, speaking of like Super Mario, like more so talking on video games, I'll never forget. I remember this guy. I ended up having to ban him from my stream, but no, I remember when I was playing Fortnite. And this guy came in, he talked about, oh, Fortnite's a kid's game. And I'm thinking to myself, Ninja is a whole grown man and has probably made millions off of playing Fortnite. Cash Nasty, I don't know how much money he's made, but he seemed like he's doing good for himself. He don't play Fortnite, he plays NBA 2K, but still, I would say that NBA 2K, that it's a more mature kids game, but I would say that it still classifies as, I mean, they don't have like fighting and cussing and they going crazy in them games, like they ain't got like guns, violence, drugs, and all them other different things going on. So I would say that that's the case with that game. It's a kids game. I'm trying to think of some other ones out there. Forza, I guess, it could be considered a kids game if they wanted it to be. Is that game rated E or rated teen? For wait a minute, what is Forza Horizon 5 rating? Let's just see. Rated E for everybody. All right. So back when I was younger, rated E for everybody meant that it was a kids game. All right. So Forza, I guess it would classify as a kids game, but there are still so many adults that play that. And the funny thing is, it's like, you got to sit down and think about it. Now, if I'm watching kids wrestling, then okay, I think that would probably be a little bit weird. why am I watching kids wrestle? I'm like, no, I'm saying like instead of grown men wrestling, no, it's like just random kids out there. I think if anything, it probably would be funny. But if I'm like, sitting there watching it and stuff, eyes just not blinking, all that, I'm like, okay, then question it. But if none of that is grown men, women, all that stuff, I just don't know. I look at it where I'm like, there's people in wrestling the same age as me, so I'm like, I don't know what would be if we're gonna say that watching wrestling is weird. I'm like, wouldn't it be more weird for the person on TV to be out there wrestling? Here they out there in tights, I'm out here in casual normal clothes in the comfort of my house watching wrestling. So that's why I'm like, it's at times where there's just certain things where if it doesn't involve you, don't speak on it. And I know I feel like I got to learn that myself, because I know there's things that I'll speak on and things. But overall, though, I mean, it's stuff like that where I'm like a man in the gym listening to music. Again, how does that affect your day-to-day life? So that's why I'm like, you just way too worried about people. If you're that worried about a man off up in the gym listening to Drake, you way too worried about people. And that's, like I said, the one thing that I feel like that would eliminate all of that is by you minding your business. All right. So anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.